All right, in today's video reference, we're going to learn how to solve two-step and multi-step equations. Similar to 7th grade, first thing you're always going to do is distribute. If you see that first, then you'll combine your like terms, which are your variable terms and constant terms. And then basically you're going to try to get the variable by itself by doing inverse operations. So can someone tell me, what does it mean to be an inverse operation? Yeah, you want to do the opposite to both sides. So basically, we'll add or subtract both sides of the equation, and then at the end, usually you have to do the opposite, multiply and divide to both sides. So the way this video reference is going to work, it's going to be a little bit different. For each equation, since most of this is review, I highlighted the variable we're trying to solve for, and then we'll just go through one step at a time and throw kooshes and scooshes if you can help me out. And then we'll also, you'll see a red line for each equation. And that's basically trying to show the left side and the right side of the equation. So the first example, let's focus in here on number 1. Okay, so it's a two-step equation. The variable's on the left. Raise your hand. What is the first step of this two-step equation? Plus 8 to both sides. And what are you left with? Negative 7m equals 49. The next step, divide by negative 7. And the final answer, negative 7m. M equals negative 7, excuse me. Number 2, let's look at this one. So this one's a little different. We'll call this backwards because now the p-value or the p variable is on the right-hand side. So, it's a little bit weird in the fact that we're getting rid of this 8 first. So what's the first step? Minus 8 on both sides. And then what are we left with? Negative 5 equals p divided by 2. What's the next step? I kind of gave it away with that little dot. Yeah, the opposite, remember this means division, is divide by 2. So what are you going to do to both sides again? Multiply by 2, multiply by 2. And what are you left with for an answer? P equals negative 10. Moving on to number 3. All right, so similarly here, this is I would call this one a backwards weirdo as well because the x is on the right, and there we have to start here, which is a little weird. So first step is what? Add 8 to both sides. What are we left with? Negative 45 equals 5x. Next step, divide each side by 5. And what are we left with? X equals negative 9. All right, let's look at number 4. So number 4 is the first time that we have to combine like terms first. So we can see there's 2 x's highlighted. So who wants to combine the like terms for me? Hopefully you said negative 3x plus 7. Again, you're going to see this as a negative 4x and a positive 1x, like that. All right, going through our two-step equations now. What is the next step? Minus 7 on both sides. What are we left with? 12 equals negative 3x. And the next step, divide by negative 3. And the final answer, x equals negative 4. All right, number 5, we're introducing distributive property. So usually I put these symbols here to distribute. Remember, that's a negative 8n. Who can distribute the 4 for me? 12 minus 32n equals 204. Now, what is the next step here? Minus 12 on both sides. This part's important. What are we left with after we minus 12 on both sides? Bring down that negative 32n. The next step, divide each side by negative 32. And the final answer, in case you didn't know this one, is it going to be positive or negative? Negative 6. Great. Great. Last one is number 6, and we'll try 8 on the next page. So the first step here, I kind of already put it in, is distribute. And you can see M is highlighted twice, so we're going to have to combine like terms. So who wants to distribute 2 for me? 12m minus 8. What can we combine? And what are we left with? 19m minus 8. Next step, add 8 to both sides. What are we left with? 19m equals 495, and then the last step, and the final answer. All right, so this was a different style to do reference, but I was comfortable doing this since we did this. Most of you guys did this in 7th grade. It's just a refresher. So if you turn the page, we're going to do 6 and 7. Page 6 and 7, we'll practice those.